For decades, the world believed Mach 3 was the absolute limit of human flight. That belief came from a single aircraft, the legendary SR-71 Blackbird. Flying higher and faster than anything before or since, the Blackbird wasn't just an airplane. It was a warning that speed itself could become a strategic advantage. But it also revealed something else. Even the SR-71 had limits: extreme heat, massive maintenance, specialized fuel, and costs so high that it could never truly scale. Now, decades later, a new name has quietly returned to aerospace discussions: SR-72 Darkstar, an aircraft rumored to fly at Mach 10, fast enough to cross continents in under an hour. Fast enough that interception becomes irrelevant. Fast enough that the very definition of aircraft begins to blur. And this time, it isn't science fiction. The SR-72 exists because the world has changed. Satellites can be tracked. Drones can be intercepted. Information moves instantly, but platforms still take time to reach their targets. Speed has once again become the missing advantage. Mach 10 isn't just very fast, it's over 12,000 kilometers per hour. At those speeds, air stops behaving like air. It compresses, heats, and ionizes. Temperatures on the aircraft's surface exceed 1,000 degrees Celsius. Traditional jet engines fail. Conventional materials deform. And human pilots face limits no training can overcome. That's why the SR-72 isn't an upgraded jet. It's an entirely new class of vehicle. At the heart of the Darkstar concept is a propulsion system that has never existed on an operational aircraft before: a combined cycle engine. During takeoff and low-speed flight, the aircraft behaves like a normal jet. A turbine engine provides thrust from the runway to supersonic speeds. But beyond that point, everything changes. As speed increases, airflow is redirected into a scramjet, a supersonic combustion ramjet. Unlike traditional engines, scramjets don't carry oxygen. They compress incoming air at hypersonic velocity and ignite fuel directly within that flow. The transition between turbine and scramjet is seamless. No engine swap, no staging, just acceleration. This is why Mach 10 is even possible. For decades, scramjets existed only in laboratories and brief test flights. They were unstable, inefficient, and nearly impossible to control. But advances in computational modeling, sensor fusion, and real-time control systems have changed that. The SR-72 isn't fast because it's powerful. It's fast because it's efficient at extreme speed. But propulsion is only half the challenge. At Mach 10, heat becomes the real enemy. Aluminum melts, steel weakens. Even titanium begins to fail. The SR-72 relies on materials that barely existed a generation ago. Advanced ceramic matrix composites, carbon-carbon structures refined from spaceflight programs, thermal coatings that don't just resist heat, they manage it. Instead of concentrating thermal stress in one area, the aircraft distributes it across the airframe, preventing fatigue and structural failure. This alone explains why the Darkstar could not have been built 20 years ago. The materials simply weren't ready. And then there's the human factor. At hypersonic speeds, reaction time shrinks to milliseconds. Navigation errors become catastrophic. G-forces fluctuate unpredictably. Human pilots, no matter how skilled, become the weakest link. That's why the SR-72 is believed to be fully autonomous, or at least optionally piloted. Artificial intelligence manages engine transitions, thermal balance, and flight stability at speeds no human could process in real time. This doesn't remove humans from the equation, it changes their role. The aircraft becomes a precision instrument, not a test of endurance. So why does Mach 10 matter? Because speed changes everything. A platform that can reach any point on Earth in under an hour doesn't need forward bases. It doesn't rely on predictable orbits. It doesn't wait for windows of opportunity. It arrives. It completes its mission. And it's gone before defenses can even react. Speed becomes protection. This is why aerospace analysts keep circling back to the year 2026. Not as a deployment date, but as a milestone. Engine demonstrators, integrated system testing, flight-ready prototypes. History shows that revolutionary aircraft often fly years before entering service. The SR-71 did. So did stealth platforms that reshaped air combat. The SR-72 appears to follow that same pattern. What's important isn't whether a Darkstar enters full production tomorrow. What matters is that the technology behind it already exists. The SR-72 represents a bridge between aircraft and spacecraft, between human control and autonomous systems, between speed as a number and speed as a strategy. And whether or not this exact aircraft ever becomes operational, its legacy is unavoidable. Hypersonic cruise is no longer theoretical. It's becoming practical. When the SR-71 first flew, it redefined what an aircraft could be. The SR-72 aims to do the same, but at a scale that challenges physics itself. Mach 10 flight forces engineers to rethink propulsion, materials, autonomy, and mission design from the ground up. It erases old assumptions and replaces them with new possibilities. The question is no longer if hypersonic aviation will mature. The question is how fast. Because once speed reaches this level, the boundaries between air, space, and autonomy begin to disappear. And when that happens, aviation won't just evolve, it will transform.